welcome, Dave, to METALLERIUM Pages. It's a great pleasure to talk with you about Jungle Rot, an amazing band from the 90s, because I'm really huge fan from your second album, The Slaughter of the Week. It's a great album at that time. So now we will talk about the band, A Call to Arms, the new album, and more things related to the metal world. Starting with starting with this question: how have you been during this pandemic situation? 2 years now, the war in Europe, and perhaps the next 2 or 3 years will be an alien invasion or zombie apocalypse. Who knows what happened in the next coming year, really?
I don't know. It's a crazy world, that's for sure, man. We're just trying to get out there and hopefully we can get on the road this year and tour. But through the pandemic, man, you know, we got lucky. We pulled the plug on the last tour and on the last album right at the same time as it started, and so we hit the timing was right. And as it was going on, we were writing the album, and it all worked out perfect. You know, we sat on the album for probably a year. We never done that before. You know, we're used to putting it out and you know, right to product and right to the road, you know, so that was kind of weird in ourselves, man, sitting on it for a while, but we finally got it out, and I think the time is right now.
Yeah. Well, after 4 years from the last album, from self-titled album, Jungle Rot, you do this new one, A Call to Arms. So how was perhaps this new album composed or recorded during this pandemic? Perhaps do you have troubles to record because 2 years, perhaps some countries around the world block the times, quarantines, this kind of stuff. So perhaps did you have this kind of troubles recording the process?
We didn't, man. We really didn't take it. We took it serious, but we didn't take it serious. I mean, we got around each other and we put the mask on in the studio and recorded. Of course, we had, you know, the studio wanted us to wear masks, but we really kind of just ignored it in an own sense, man. We just kind of stayed to ourselves and wrote the album, you know. I still don't know what to take of this virus, you know. I really don't know how to take it, man. I mean, it's just crazy what's happening, and it's crazy to me how they're still trying to keep it going. That's the craziest thing.
Okay. So talking about you have 11 albums with this A Call to Arms in your complete career, so it's amazing. It's a great accomplishment for a lot of bands around the world.
I agree.
And one thing about this one is when you release the first album, you get the sound. Now you are still preserving your sound, but sometimes it's very difficult to do fresh things with 11 albums, now 30 years of existence of Jungle Rot. So for you, how do you avoid to repeating by yourself along 11 albums and 30 years of career?
It's a good question, man. It is. But I think for me, I don't listen to a lot of music, so it kind of keeps me staying true to myself. You know, when I write, it's just I write for me. And so it's not like I'm listening to what's out there this month or next month. And I think it just keeps me more primitive into the Jungle Rot style by not seeing what's out there, you know, and it come on my own little cave here, you know, and I think that has a lot to do with it. I really do. And you know, like you said, having 11 albums out, that's a major accomplishment. I mean, I would have never thought I would make it to 11 albums, and that's a big thing for me to hit.
Yeah. So talking about the discography in general, and talking about for the first albums from Skin to Living, many people think that this album, according to the fans, you in the 90s, when a lot of bands came out with the first albums, they think now they have like the same age like me, like 41 years, 45 years old. So, and they think that the first album or the second album are the greatest songs in the Jungle Rot careers and this kind of stuff. And the counterproductive thing around these things as that usually the last album for the band is the best works until today. So if we try to relate these concepts for you, which is the best works for you? Perhaps do you have a favorite one? It's not perhaps Skin Living, perhaps not Slaughter of the Week, perhaps not A Call to Arms, because you have another favorite into your 11 albums.
My favorite still, I mean, I think would be the last self-titled. I think that had a big reaction, and I don't really know on the new one because we don't know until it gets out there to see the reaction. I'm excited. I hope that does top the last one, but I can respect them old ones too, you know, Skin the Living and Slaughter of the Week, that raw production, you know, there's something about that time, you know, and, you know, we kind of lost that edge of that rawness, and we kind of sharpened it up a little bit more modern, more death metal. But I do, when I put those old albums in like Skin the Living and Slaughter Week, and, you know, I'm amazed by the production, the rawness, and I am attracted to it still as well.
Okay. So talking about this, a call to arms. So I saw that when this new album has 10 songs around the world and 10 songs into the album. So for you, which is the special one when you compose? Sometimes the artist has a favorite one into the 10 songs
Yeah,
because you did perhaps some nostalgic into the riffs, some of the lyrics perhaps
yeah.
more stronger than the others. So which do you prefer to play alive? Which in
Uh,
this new album?
I would, we ain't playing any of them live yet, but I could see Call to Arms is probably one of my favorites, and Genocide Imperium. I think both those songs, I'd like to call them like a Frankenstein. They have all the elements, all the good groove. They got the power, they got the thrash and speed. They just have all the elements that combine one great song. You know, I think them two are very well stood out. I mean, something about Jungle Rot albums, I mean, you know, they're not similar. They're not that kind of album that you put on the first song and you all the way to the 10th song, it sounds the same. Every song is different in itself. And, you know, any fan's going to find one or two or three that they like on the album for sure, you know.
Mm. Okay. So talking about you have 11 albums, as I said many times, and you have a lot of songs because if we try to see your entire discography, singles, videos, EPs, splits, compilations, and a lot of demos and a lot of things. So when you try to do a set list to play in a new European tour, a new world North American tour, how do you find the inspiration to pick these songs much better for this tour? Because
I know.
it's a very
Yeah.
difficult to pick just one song in 11 albums, more than 30 years of career. So it's very difficult sometimes.
You're absolutely right. I mean, and up until this year, I mean, most of the tours we've been doing are just, you know, we're supporting other bands. So we only have anywhere from 35 minutes to 40 minutes, you know, so it's really hard. I mean, we kind of go off what the crowd feels, you know, when we've done tours in the past, what songs go over the best. You can feel them when you do them live. We always go off of that. But something that's special for this year with the Call to Arms tour, this is the first time we're going out doing headlining tours. So we're going to be able to play an hour and 15 minutes now. So we're going to try to cover almost songs on every album on this tour. So that's going to be a treat, man. I mean, we're actually we're going to plan on covering at least one or if not two on every album. So I think we have like almost 18 to 21 songs we're going to play on this tour. So we're pretty excited. I mean, the fans are going to be really happy with this. I mean, anyone that's been waiting to see a headlining tour and see more of us, they're going to get a chance to see it finally.
Great. So according to all years, and this new one is not exception, a Call to Arms talks about this your top lyrics about the wars, tortures, murder, death, corruption. So perhaps in sometimes and then for the new albums, perhaps do you think about talking about other matters, perhaps because this is your line lyrics, perhaps for the future album to talk about what is for you interesting to talk about war and torture in your albums?
Most of it is because of the name. I mean, it's hard to get away from not singing about any kind of war and gore when you got a name like Jungle Rot, you know, that comes from the war. So it's kind of like we're kind of stuck to doing it. I mean, we really don't like singing about a lot of war and stuff and gore, but we're kind of branded to do that. You know, Jimmy writes a lot of the works and he's always on top of the stuff. And it seems like every album that we put out, it seems like whatever we write about is what's currently happened today in the world, you know, and he's been on top of that and it's been kind of great.
Okay. So you have 30 years of career and perhaps more, because according to when you form a band, you decide to form this band perhaps in the 1990 or perhaps in 1989. Who knows? Because before the official formations, according to the biographies, 1992. Perhaps you start the band in 1991, 1999. So this kind of stuff. So for you are been for more than 30 years in the band, and you are the last original member in Jungle Rot. So how have you been during these 30 years, perhaps 2 years, carrying a lot of accomplished with the Jungle Rot, a lot of albums, a lot of tours, because you are the only one now. So perhaps do you have a great anecdote into this matter? What was the biggest stone in your career to that? Perhaps some troubles, the biggest troubles. Now 30 years is a lot of years on the band.
The biggest trouble, I've been fortunate, you know, the hardest thing for a band, and I think, is trying to find the same 4 or 5 guys that share the same dream and goals that want to go out and chase them. I mean, that's always been the hardest thing. And I've been lucky. I've had some guys that stayed, you know, they've been with me for 17 years now. And I think, you know, we're a solid group. And, you know, I think that's got a lot to do with it's keeping us together, man. I mean, we all say the same dream and we want to get out there and still do it. But it is harder. It's getting harder every day. We're getting older and it's harder to get out there on the road and do it. You know, we love doing it. Now with an inflation, there's, you know, money. It's going to be tough this year, and I hope that we can pull it off. You know, we're to see. But we've been fighting it for many years. We've been doing pretty good.
Yeah. Well, according to your history on or in all albums, well, your first record or your first record label was Pure Death Records for the Skinned 11. Then you pass with the Pulverizer record, then Olympia Recordings, and go on. You have a lot of labels into your career. So perhaps, and sometimes do you see this? How was the biggest situations to interface or to change the labels many times around? Because you are now with Unique Leader Records, one of the biggest death metal and deathcore bands in the US. So for you, how was the transitions to the old labels, to the new labels? Because perhaps something changed around the world also across this time, because 30 years, 11 albums, it's a lot of times, a lot of labels with the Jungle Road. So what is the biggest labels that are problems, new situations, anecdotes to change the labels?
Most of the big, I had a couple problems with the beginning labels, of course, you know, because you're naive in the beginning and you sign away and you don't know what you're getting into. You don't get lawyers, and you know, you learn today and you look back still how they're still making money on you today. It's kind of a shitty feeling, but for the most part, most of the labels, we finished our contract out and moved on. I mean, most of them were like that. I mean, there were some of them were signed for a lot of them were only one-time deals, you know, and then we moved on, and, you know, Napalm was, and then we went to Victory and did 4 with them, and then we moved on to here. You know, we just finished the contracts out and moved on, and we've been lucky that this band has always had a heartbeat and kept going, and there's been interest, and we're grateful for that, man. And Unique Leader has taken a chance, and we couldn't be happier enough to be with it. They're, like you said, the label's been thriving, and I'm excited to be on it. It's a younger generation label, and they got something the band needs, you know, and capture more kids and crowds, and we're excited for the future with them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So according to this, what kind of memories do you have for the Skinned 11? And as I said in the first question, from the Slaughter of the Week, because the Slaughter of the Week for me is a great album from the 1997. I really love that album. I got my copy in CD, this kind of stuff. So which kind of memories do you want to share with all Latin American fans from Jungle Road to Specs? Something peculiar about this recording of these 2 albums, those first 2 albums.
That's so many years ago, man. It's just,
yeah.
I just remember we were just really hungry for it back then. It was fun. I mean, we used to get in a jam spot and get together and sweat it out and write the music. I mean, them were great times. A lot of the writing now, we do it on a computer, 2 guys, me and another guy. But that's what I remember the best, is just getting together and having a jam spot and playing every 3 days a week, practicing. And I remember Skin and Living doing the cover with the artist the first time we seen it. I mean, you know, we gave him the title and he gave us the picture back, the drawing, and it was that Skin and Living with the sword. I mean, that was great. You know, we freaked out and we knew we had something there. And then Jamie, like you said, he picked us up on Pure Death Records. You said that earlier. And then we moved on to Slaughter of the Week with Pavement. It was, I think, Pavement. And then he did Slaughter of the Week as well. The same artist. We worked with him on Slaughter of the Week, and we did Skin and Living, and it just started taking off from there. I mean, I remember them were good times.
Okay. Well, talking about a lot of things into this Call of Arms. Well, for you, what is the biggest strange that this Call to Arms has compared to a lot of productions now into the world? You have a biggest spot into death metal history in the US, but now there are a lot of releases, a lot of albums, EPs, singles, videos, and especially with the digital platforms, more releases than if we remember the 90s is not like that, not like this. No, it's just 10 or 20 albums per year. But now it's more than I don't know, 1,000,
Yeah,
2,000,
thousands,
2,000
thousands.
thousands per month. It's very difficult to see what happens. So for you, what are the biggest stones and strange that this occult has compared to the a lot of bands around the world now?
I'm not sure, man. That's a tough question, man. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Maybe we can pass on that one. That's a tough one.
Okay. So as I said, now we will talk about other matters around the world. Oh, you are one of you live this you live the death metal since the beginning, when the first wave, the second wave, and the third wave into the death metal, and especially in US. So for you, how was the change? How the things changed compared to the previous days into the death metal to now?
I hear that quite a bit, man. I really don't think it's changed much at all. You know, we're still doing the same scene. You know, you go out on a tour and there's 300 to 500 people. It's always been there. You know, there's always going to be an underground scene. It's never really went away. You know, people, that comes up quite a bit. I don't really think I don't see much change at all over the last couple of years. If anything that I see, there seems like death metal stronger than it's ever been right now in the US. All the shows are doing well. I mean, everything's selling out. I mean, the Cannibal tour was strong this year. I mean, everything is just thriving right now for death metal. It seems like all the kids that were into hardcore 2-3 years ago finally found death metal, and it seems like they finally jumped over to the right side now. and you know, and it's really helped out a lot. It seems like it's more death metal now than that deathcore, and it seems like they kind of came over to us, man.
Yeah. So, well, now, as I said in the previous question, so I said that well, now the new wave of hearing music is the digital platforms, and the digital platforms bring us our facilities. Well, no, bring us facilities more easy, more easier way to hear music around the world with 1, 2, 3, or perhaps 4 songs into the digital platforms. And this generation prefers to do, and they love to do their playlist with these kind of aspects of 1, 2, 3 songs. So for you, and why perhaps the digital or the digital platforms is good or bad for the music industry? And talking about this matter, why the albums doesn't have the same impact compared to the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, when you need to hear all albums to see what happened in the music for the band. But now there's just one single, 2 singles, 3 singles around the world.
I know what you're saying on that. I mean, the biggest thing I think is that, you know, physical copies. We don't want physical copies to go away. You know, that's what's happening. There's not going to be CDs or vinyls. Thank God vinyls still out there for bands. We need physical copies to go on the road and sell, man. So that kind of really hurts the band. I mean, buying those 1 song, 2 songs online, I can never understand that, man. I always try to tell the label, why do we release 1 or 2 a month? Why do we got to release all 10 at once? You know, you lose all the ammunition. But it's a strange world right now, man. You know, but I hope physical doesn't go away, but I think it is.
Okay. Yes. So talking about, as you said there is a lot of new bands around the world. Well, there's a lot of death metal with death metal with old school sound, this kind of stuff. So, and I talk with the new bands like the Tom Mold, with Undergang, and other bands that said, but new bands especially, the new bands that said that they said that the old school death metal is too saturated now with many productions, with many labels, with us all. How do you see the situation, or how do you see the old school death metal around the world in the next 10 or perhaps 15 years? Is now saturated, or perhaps we'll see a path that or way to see new things into the old school death metal? It's possible to go beyond this with this sound achieve over this with a lot of bands in the death metal.
I think a lot with bands. I think it is oversaturated again with music right now for sure with bands. But I think the ones that are good are going to keep going forward, and I think the ones that don't have an interest are going to fall apart. I mean, that's usually what happens. And you know, me myself, I've been into a lot of younger bands here in the U.S., like 200 Stab Wounds, Frozen Soul. I mean, them are all bands that are starting to come up. On Death, I don't know if you heard any of them bands that are starting to really pop up in the U.S. here. And I think the good ones will survive, and I think the bad ones will fall apart, man.
Yeah. So talking about one aspect about the tours here, especially in Latin America, I tried to find information about your Latin tours here in Latin America, and I saw a few dates there in the past. So how how has your experience here touring here in Latin America, and with perhaps I saw countries Chile, Colombia, this kind of stuff. How was your experience here playing here, and what kind of what is the biggest city that held or that supports Jungle Rot in the past here in Latin America?
Well, I love going there, man. I had a great time. The people were great. I mean, Victor Storm brought us out there. I don't know if you know Victor. He's brought us out there a couple of times now, and takes care of us. Great time. I mean, I trust him, and when I'm on the road, that's the main thing. You know, he really takes care of us. But the people are great, man. They love it. They thrive it. I mean, they don't get to see the Jungle Rot that much. And when we come out, they came out, and I remember some of the best shows were definitely Mexico City. I mean, crazy. I mean, good times. I mean, that was probably the biggest highlight. I remember that. I remember flying in there first time seeing it, how big it was. I was like, oh my God, you come in on the plane. It's like, oh my.
Yeah, well, it's huge.
I'll never forget that, you know, to this day. I mean, it's like, I remember seeing it on the movies before, but I got to witness it myself, you know, and that's the thing I remember. But no, we love the people, and we hope to get back there again because they're very appreciative of it. That means a lot. You know, that's what keeps us going.
Okay, so oh, with Unique Leathers as your new label, how was the things going with Unique Leathers now? How do you see the future with Jungle Rot and meeting Unique Leathers records for the whole promotion of this Call to Arms?
So far it's been going good. It's early right now. You know, we're just in the early stages. I've only been working with them for the last 3 months, and the album's coming out next month. But everything we've done so far, they've been behind us. They're no problems so far. And like I said earlier, I look forward to the future because it's a strong label, like you said. They're main big contender out there with any other label, and it's a younger generation. And I really like that, man, because I'm hoping that we catch some of that crowd. You know, I think the future's going to be good for us. I really do.
Okay. Oh, we are very close to this interview date, and one question is relating to the future. So, what kind of plans, or what kind of plans do you have for this Call to Arms? Perhaps, as you said that you will have a North American tour in the coming months, but perhaps you have new dates in Northern Europe, and perhaps, who knows, and Latin American tour this year, perhaps next year, or perhaps new videos incoming, because I saw the first video for the promotion of this new album, and perhaps do you have more things coming?
Well, first thing we can do, we got the album coming out May 13th, and we'll have another video that same day that's coming out. Be the second video that's going to be called Genocide Imperium. We're excited about that. It's a little different. It's going to be a shock and awe. It's something that we've never done before. So, you know, I think this is like our 14th video, so we had to try something different. We didn't want to go up there being the same old look and the same old guys. So we tried something different. We'll see if it works. But coming up, we got another tour coming up in August. We'll be back this year. We're just gonna do North America. We're gonna concentrate on touring here, and then I know in September we got that big Mexico Metal Fest, and I forget which one it is. It's real big.
Yeah.
And in September we got that, and then the next summer in the 2023 we're gonna do all international tour. We're gonna try to get by you and do Europe and concentrate on that and keep the ball rolling and see where we're at from there.
Okay. Well, Dave, the sad times arrived at this interview. I hope you enjoyed this one as I did. And thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate this talk because, as I said, I'm a huge fan from Jungle Rot since the beginning to now. I did my pre-order from Unique Leaders, so I have my CD arrive soon. So, and perhaps do you want to add something to your Latin American fans and Metallero readers that expect another gig, another tour here in this part of the world?
Yeah, I can just say, you know, hang in there. I appreciate all the support. It's hard for us to get there, but I'm pretty sure we're going to get there next year. I've been talking to Victor again already. Like I said, he's brought us there twice, and I think we'll get a good week out of, you know, some kind of week, 7-day tour there. And I hope everybody enjoys the new album. You know, it's not easy, you know, doing this kind of stuff, fighting this fight, and you know, we put it out.
Yeah.
We haven't put it out. They have a good time, and we just hope people enjoy it. You know.
Yeah, that's true. More than 30 years of career, sometimes it's very difficult to achieve what you did with your Jungle Rot. It's very difficult for
it
many.
Is amazing. It's amazing. It really is, man.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It really is. It's been a long fight, and I'm telling you one thing: the fight has not stopped yet. It's still going, man.
Yeah.
Every day it's a battle, man. Every day.
Yes, 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 yes.